stitch markers. All kinds of stitch markers. Some that mean a lot, some that we gifted, some that we bought. They're all different. How can we divide them into groups? So let's start with this. Cocoknits. There are different kinds. These ones are my least favorite ones because they slip. They're not very good at keeping the place because they just slip off the stitches. They're too thick for small needles, not thick enough for bigger needles. So these ones are my least favorites. I don't use them pretty much at all just because they slip. They don't really keep stuff on track. And then we have these three different size rings. What's great about them is they're all slightly just a little bit flexible. They're different sizes and different colors. I don't use these, unfortunately, because these are too big. I don't use big needles anymore. I'm mostly knitting with fingering weight yarn, maybe DK, sometimes worsted, but these are just too big. I don't like big needles. I don't like how they feel in my hands, but I still keep them just in case for some projects that I might need them in different colors. Regular rings. These work for almost any needle, even the tiny little ones, but they're thick for those needles. So a stitch marker has to be perfect, not too thick, not too thin. These ones are great, again, for little needles, for smaller size needles. But if you compare them to, let's say, this one, this is a silver one with a tiny, tiny little bit of a bead right there. But it's slightly thinner than this and kind of easier to handle on a needle. What am I talking about? Let's see. So the needle, right? It's easier to slip this one on and off the needle as you knit, right? See how easy? It's not too thick, it's not too thin. It doesn't take too much space between stitches. This one is a worsted weight yarn, so it doesn't really matter. But for fingering, when it's, or lace weight yarn, if you put way too thick of a stitch marker, it creates the extra space between stitches that you don't want. So there it is. These ones are silver still, but a little thicker. It's still pretty good to slide them on and off. If you were to work with it. See, I like them slightly larger so I could easily get them off. This one is smaller than I would probably want to for this size of needles. And this is size 4mm. So there it is. This is still doable. These I do like because they're slippery, they're colorful, they're very easy to slip on and off the needle. Very easy. Even at this small size, you know? Or I would work with these, but these you would have to be careful because if you have lace yarn and the stitches are close together, it will create a little gap. Again, this is thicker yarn, so it's not as obvious. All right, so these are the simple round ones, and I have them in different sizes. Tiny, tiny little ones for tiny little needles, although it's like for size 0 needle. Maybe good. Anything else? No. That would be a no. All right, so these are all of those things. Simple, circular stitch markers. All right, now, Cocoknits has these. They're great at being a project keeper, just to keep your place. What I don't like is that they eventually break. I kept this one just to show you, but it's normal life of a stitch marker, and I use them a lot, so they just get bent. What I found better than these for me, because as a progress keeper, these are great just to hang them, to identify that you're so many stitches away from the next decrease or increase. Maybe you want to just mark something else in your knitting. These will be great, and they're colorful. So with different colors, you can just keep on track with what you're doing. With my short row technique, you can just say, okay, the green ones will mean that you are 2 stitches away from the next turn. The yellow ones will mean that you're 5 stitches away from the next short row turn. So this is that. What I found better than these would be the removable stitch markers with the round clasp, like that. Like that. Versus the normal regular Progress Keeper, which will have a lobster clasp. This, you know? I don't like them because usually, even with my nails, see what I mean? Like, it's hard to get it off for me. Same goes with the stitch. When you try to get it into the stitch, sometimes just stretches the stitches out because they're thick. Let's face it, they're thick. Compared to these, thin, thick. Easier to put on the stitch, not as easy and heavy. So you want to look out for how light and heavy they are for different things. Let's review these too. So these are the same as these. They don't hold. No matter what I tried, I love them. I really love them, but they fall off my knitting. So these, I'm sad to say, but I want to use them. I like them a lot, but I can't. So these would be a no in my book. These I found lately that these I love a lot. First, the round clasp, it's pretty big. It fits any needle that I work with. It's pretty thin. It's very easy. Sometimes I have to change a pattern on a fly and I have to move the stitch markers. Where I mark the short rows, maybe I would mark the decreases or increases, something like that. So these are great because I can just on the fly take them off, put them on to the stitch, put them on the needle at any given place. So these I use either as beginning of the round, just normal regular stitch marker, or the removable ones. It just gives more flexibility. So those are those. Some of them, no matter what you do, so they're not as smooth as people are saying. You can tell, like right now, my nail is kind of like, So this snags onto the thinner weight yarn or thicker weight yarn, but maybe if it's 4 or 5 strands, it just gets caught into one of those, and I don't like it. But it's thin enough. And one more thing to note. If you compare this to this has that extra ring, that extra joint, and it's more flexible and it's easier to move around the needle. It's easier on your knitting. So this one is not flexible, and sometimes it gets in a way and just doesn't stay right. Like it, see what I mean? It doesn't have that flexibility that this extra ring will offer, like that. It's just lays on your knitting better. This not movable, pretty, but just, and thin enough, right? But this is just much better because of that little joint. It's more flexible around the needle, so much more comfortable. These ones are by Ridiculously Cute. I have quite a few of Jen's stitch markers. I started buying Ridiculously Cute stitch markers because they're pretty, they're unique. Like this is one of them. Like, who wouldn't want to have this on their needles, right? When I feel like it, I just put this on. I have a little, like, finger stitch marker. When people annoy the heck out of me, I just put that on my needles and knit with it. I have these. These are heavier and not, like, see how it's made? That is a snagging disaster. So, and heavy, pretty heavy, but cute, cute cat. And because it has that extra, it's not rigid. It's pretty flexible, so it's better on your knitting versus something that doesn't move. So this one is great. Jen also makes these. Yes, these are elaborate. These are a lot of stitch marker, right? But it's just so cute. So when I'm in the mood for something like that, I just go for this, extra little music to my ears. Those little things. All right. These are from my local yarn shop. Katie makes them. These are great. They're pretty smooth. I will be honest, they sometimes do snag, but they this is not hers. This is what she sells, but these are hers, like this one. So it's made with her grandmother and great grandmother's beads, necklaces. But see, she has this extra movement here. That's how she makes them, and they're pretty smooth. And I like the story behind them. And I just sometimes, when I'm like very nostalgic and I just want to have these on my needles, I'll just put those on my needles. And she has the lobster claw ones, the progress keepers, something like that. These are not hers. This is what she sells. It comes in a set, but because they just fit together, I just have them on one ring. There's that. This one is from my friend. We connected through Etsy, and this is what I like, that it still has that movement. It's pretty light, I have to tell you that. So she makes these. Look at these. These are beautiful mushrooms. So they're pretty light. Compared to this, this is way heavier than this. So I would prefer this, as large as it is, much larger than that, but this is way, way, way too heavy. So that's the difference there. And then you have to pay attention to how smooth they are. So sometimes you see those cats, and this is not to diss anyone or any brand. This is just how it feels in my hands. So when you would think that, oh my gosh, this is so cute. These are actually not bad, but for some reason I don't like how they just sit on the needle. And they're not smooth. So this is what I don't like. Those ones, the round ones with cat ears, they all look pretty, but because of the ears, the gravity takes place. So they just sit on a needle in an awkward way. And these are very light, but they're not smooth. And for some reason, I think I prefer the round ones because they just, they just sit better on a needle. They glide better on a needle. That's what I'm looking for. So that's that. These are again from Ridiculously Cute from Jen from Etsy. I'll link her account below. I don't earn anything from it. Again, like this is just, I buy them. I buy basically everything except for maybe a few gifts that were given to me by friends. I buy all of it. This is what I enjoy. This is what I like. So these are from Jen. It's just so cute. And it's very smooth. It's thin enough, thick enough. And she actually cares about all of this, the movement, how light they are. And they come in different sizes, but this is the size that I prefer, these ones. So 4 to 5 to 7 inches, millimeters. Okay, so let's move on to the numbered ones. I use numbered stitch markers in my patterns excessively because I want to guide you through easier, and they're coming, my patterns, but the point of reference, it'll be easier for you to know, okay, around stitch, before stitch marker 1, make double increase, something like that. So easier to just follow through with a pattern. And these are the regular standard ones. And then you have the ones that you can actually, the removable ones, like that you can actually write on these with a permanent marker. Not as permanent because you can wipe them after a certain time, but these ones you can number, and they do come with numbers, like little numbers, and they're pretty flexible and light. So I'm looking for that in a stitch marker always. And then they come in tiny little ones, so I have different numbered ones. These ones, see, they're little round ones, very light. Easy to see the number, very easy to glide through the needle, again because this part is pretty flexible and movable. Very easy. See, it just lays there, like it just does. And with the numbered stitch markers, I use, see, even mixed in, I use these as supporting stitch markers just to separate where I started making increases. I will place that little supporting stitch marker, the simple ring. So I know that between this ring and let's say number 1, I would increase, I don't know, what I mean? This many stitches. So I can easily count them. So I use stitch markers a lot to guide me through, to support me. They are my best friend. A while back, I'm not sure what happened. If somebody knows, please let me know. This used to be Everyday Peacocks. I'm not sure what happened to the shop. It's closed on Etsy, but I bought a set a million years ago. This was a very long time ago. So these are silver, you know, they're a little tarnished, so you can tell. I do work with them, but this is they just get a little dark over time. This is for the cables. I use them all the time. I like this one more than this. I used to just kind of separate it a bit more here, so the stitches slide easier for the cables. But I discovered something better than that. So I had those cats spiral ones that I like more. So these, again, they are the right thickness, they're the right size. They don't snag, although they have those intricate details. They don't snag on anything. These are one of my favorite ones. I even wanted like earrings like that at some point. But because they're flexible and they have that extra ring here, they're not rigid. They're not like that, you know. Not like this, you know. I like when they dangle a little bit. It feels better in my hands. And again, these, yeah, I use these, but I don't particularly enjoy using them. And then these, yeah, this is Jen's. This is ridiculously cute. Also this, just to show you a little bit of ridiculously cute. Also this. They come in different kind of sets. Jen spoils people rotten. Or in the sets like that, you know, a little bling on your knitting. Perfect, just perfect. You can tell I'm crazy about stitch markers. So, and then you can get a little necklace that will hold those stitch markers. So that's that. These are my very old ones. I use them a lot, although they're pretty sturdy and not flexible at all. I still like them. I don't know why. I just, these, I have a set of 8. I like them a lot. These are larger and I can use them on smaller needles. And although they are not as smooth as I would like them to be, see, they're still pretty smooth. I don't know how to tell you the difference, but they are slightly rigid. They're not as smooth. But I guess overall feel is just, it's just good. So I like these. I like that they're large because sometimes I do use larger needles, and these will fit any needles. And then twig and horn. These ones, so it's a set. They're mixed with some other ones. Wool and wire. I like wool and wire, but only these ones. The ones that have more move to them. These ones, wool and wire, I use them. I still use them a lot, but not my favorites. And again, the lobster claw ones, they're very heavy, very heavy. So I need them sometimes. I use them, but not as often. Jans, these ones, that and that, ridiculously cute, ridiculously cute. Jen named them the right way. They're all ridiculously cute and very good, movable friendly, knitters friendly. Wool and wire, still, they're mixed in, still, see? So I still use them, but I, as the time goes by, I don't like them as much. So there it is. And then the set from Twig and Horn, it came with the order with my Twig and Horn circular needle case. Yeah, I have 2. I use one, and one is still new. Maybe at some point I will celebrate some kind of holiday or something, and maybe draw a prize. Who knows? So these are just like Cocoknits, but not colorful. Why I don't like them? Why? If I use them to mark my short rows, right? If I just place them here and there, imagine if there will be a lot of them on the needles and they will move, right? Sometimes they turn upside down like that. And it would have been okay, except for when you try to knit and try to push it, see what happens? It's just you have to constantly take care to turn them. And I don't like that extra work. So I love them as a progress keeper. I don't like them as stitch markers, but if I don't have anything, I always have these with me. Always, anywhere I go, I use those. Lately, I have this from, I have a little pouch from Mood. They make leather goods, leather bags for knitters. And not just knitters, but mostly the Mood Living is knitters. So I just have this one where I usually have them. The stitch markers on, either they will be on this ring, kind of like that ring, different coloring. Mostly they will be like that. These came with this numbered set and I like them a lot. So I just keep those extra ones, whether they're numbered or these ones with a clasp. I have a lot of them to mark the short rows. So look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. Anyway, I wanted to share with you also the stitch markers, the numbered stitch markers that I just ordered that look like that, only they're removable, which I would prefer over this. And the stitch marker advent calendar with over 50 stitch markers. It was a steal. She raised the price by $10, but I thought it would be so much fun because I've never had an advent calendar, and it will be so much fun to just open a little box with that looks like a suitcase, like an old one. So it will be so much fun to just open one. I think it's 24 boxes in a set, so it'll be so much fun to open and use them up. And I use all of these. I love all of these. These ones will be given away at some point. I'll just include them. These came with my Lantern Moon. I don't particularly like these. They're flexible. Nothing bad about them. No, but to my taste, they're very thin. They're thinner than I want them to be. I want a little more substance to them and a little more maybe weight to them. These are great, but they're just not my cup of tea. So I kept them like this as a set. They came with my Lantern Moon set, interchangeable needles, the new ones. So these will be given away. Some lucky viewer will get it. All right, so these are my treasures. This is not all of it, so there you go. And there's a few more like that. So the original ones that I showed you before, that's this set. This one actually. These, I like these so much that I got those, but they are not flexible at all. These, I want to show you these because these are so different. All right, these ones have a twist to them. Can you see it? They're pretty comfortable to use, actually. On the needle, it just glides on, even though the bead is a little bulky, but it still stays really well on a needle and moves well on a needle. Thin enough, not too thick, light, but with a touch of weight. Perfect, just perfect stitch markers. And well, then, like all kinds of, a lot of other fun. These are just simple ones with a little bead, but thicker. Regular ones, little clasp ones, flowers, stitches that mark yarn overs, just clasp ones. But let me show you this. So I have numbered ones like that. What I like in a clasp, the rounder clasp, this is kind of oval. I'm going to compare two. So you can see this is oval. These do not sit well on a needle. They just don't. This is not too thick of a needle, but they sit awkwardly on a needle. You never know where they will lay. They lay where they may. The rounder just fits perfectly. Know what I mean? It just goes around. It just really twists around the needle. These ones, not so much. You never know where to turn them. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't particularly like these. But I was experimenting, so this set is just sitting here. I doubt I ever work with them, will ever work with them, but we'll see. I keep some of them for fun. There's regular ones like this. Still a lot of fun, a lot of movement. This is what I like, and because it's just a little bling on your needles. just a little something beautiful. Use them everywhere. They're my little helpers, and they help a lot. So there it is. It's a chaos. It's my perfect chaos. And I love it all, and I use it all. See, this is just gorgeous.